This is how I'm erasing my social anxiety. Yes, for a long time, even as long as I can remember, I've had social anxiety that crippled me. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't even want to go out to the grocery store. I was so nervous about how my social interactions would be with the clerks, the people walking past me in the aisle. I was so worried of judgment, of people thinking something about me or saying something to me. This crippled me for years, and I didn't even realize it. I only realized I had social anxiety about a year ago, and it was only after I started traveling a little bit to different countries and I noticed that this isn't something that's in everyone, and not everyone thinks the way that I do about social situations. And that's when I realized this is something that's really holding me back. It's something that if I were to level up in my social intelligence and really be fearless when it comes to interacting with others, deeply interacting with others without worrying about what they think of me and without hiding behind a wall that I put up. So here are 2 realizations that I had to learn the hard way, and I'm going to share them with you right now. So it all started when I grew up in a really small town. I was partly homeschooled, and the town was really, really small. So any friends that I would make, if I would lose a friend, it would really sting. And to the point where people would start talking about you and talking about what that person did and what they think of you. And it just became this toxic cycle where I would go through friends and people wouldn't really know who I was as a person. I felt like my options of friends were dwindling very quickly. So I became stingy with my interactions, and I became really afraid of what I said and how I said it and how I portrayed myself. And in turn, that made me into someone that I wasn't. And I was really afraid to be vulnerable with people. I was really afraid to share who I really was and what my real background was. And these friends never really stuck around for too long. I mean, they were good people and I love them still, but I don't really feel like they had any interest of keeping up with me. And to be honest, I didn't really have much interest in keeping up with them either. And it was until I met my husband, and he is a social butterfly. Let me tell you, he will go up to anyone in the street, strike a conversation, get their number, invite them over for dinner, and become best friends with them by that night. It is very impressive, and I got pretty inspired to see how quickly he can make deep and lasting friendships. And so I decided to challenge myself. What I ended up finding is that there is scientific proof that we can conquer our fears and we can get over these anxiety disorders. We can do exposure therapy on ourselves. We gradually increase the exposure to that specific fear, and our subconscious mind slowly releases it. We start to teach ourselves that, hey, look, this isn't actually that bad, and you can do it. What I ended up doing was I started to do what my husband did. I would literally go up to people in the streets and ask them a question. But the key is that I would not be attached to A, how they received that question, B, if they would even answer my question, and C, if anything would come out of that question being asked, like if there was going to be a relationship or if they'd even want to be my friend. At the end of the day, everybody is just a human being. They're trying their best, and I know that there are good people out there, and having that belief and knowing that people just want to help, and if they can't help, then that's fine too. And if they don't want to help, that's fine too. I have nothing against them, and maybe they have something that they're dealing with too, and I can't hold that against them at all. So that's what I did. I started to go up to people in the street and I asked them, hey, where'd you get that backpack? I really like it. And they ended up giving me their number and being like, let's go shop there together. And it came to me as quite a surprise because I honestly had no interest in being friends with them at the time because I felt like I wasn't even ready for that step in my exposure therapy, but it turned out to be a beautiful relationship. So my point is that You have to expose yourself in small amounts to begin with to what you fear most. And for me, that was talking to people and being afraid that people would judge me. So I spoke to as many people as I could. At least once a day, I'd go out and I'd go ask somebody a question. Hey, how do I get here? Or hey, do you know where the nearest grocery store is? Or just anything really to get them to talk to me. It really loosened up those gears, and it really helped me to realize that everybody's just human and there are really good people in this world. But the most important part of this whole discovery is the fact that I realized I even had social anxiety to begin with. So to me, social anxiety meant that I didn't feel like talking to people, even if I was in a room full of them. I didn't feel like going out of my house out of fear that somebody would talk to me and I'd have to respond to them. What would I even say? I don't even know what to tell them. Social anxiety for me was if I was in somebody else's presence, I would be bouncing around in my mind thinking of what to come up with to talk to them about. I had no idea, and I didn't know why, because every time I was on my own, my mind would be an absolute rainbow of thoughts, and I would think of so many different scenarios and stories and ideas and theories that I'd come up with. But when I was placed in front of somebody else, my mind would go blank. So those are my 2 tips. 1, recognize that you have social anxiety to begin with. I mean, it sounds like a big word and a very intense condition, but if you search deep within yourself, you'll realize that you might have a little bit of social anxiety, or perhaps even a lot, and that's okay, because my second point is that you can help yourself through exposure therapy. Just get out there, ask somebody a question, and don't have any expectation. Even if they say, F off, it's fine, you tried, and that's a big win for you. Congratulations, you are slowly going along your way to ridding yourself and erasing social anxiety. This is a long journey for me, and I'm far from having ridded my social anxiety, but I started, and it's a big win for me. So I am here to tell you that you can start too. And you can also start to feel less socially anxious and start to feel free around other people and create deep and meaningful bonds with other human beings, and that will enrich your life. If you like this video and want to see more like this, then subscribe. And if anything I said in this video might help somebody that you know, feel free to send it to them. You guys can do this. I believe in you. We can do this together. Bye for now.